been a busy NFL News Monday, and we're here to talk about it here on Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. A couple of headlines and stories I want to discuss. Jaire Alexander getting released by the Green Bay Packers today, and Nick Chubb expected to sign with the Houston Texans pending a physical. I'll give my thoughts and reaction to both of those stories coming up here in just a few moments. But I do want to touch on Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers. I was on vacation when this news went down. Didn't really have time to get to a video reaction while I was out of town. So thought I'd spend a few minutes on it here today. Obviously, he signed late Thursday afternoon, and he's going to be their quarterback for this season, which we kind of knew was coming. We just didn't know when, and now it is official. And I think what everybody wants to know is, like, what is the best case scenario here, right? And that's kind of what I've questioned and asked all offseason. Like, last year from a raw statistical standpoint, played fairly well with the New York Jets. Definitely played better in the second half of the year than the first half coming off that Achilles. But what's the best case we can expect for 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers with the Pittsburgh Steelers? I think there's a pretty wide range of outcomes here. I'll probably do a full video on this later in the week when there's a slow news day of just best and worst case scenario of the Pittsburgh Steelers with Aaron Rodgers this year. Like, I think it's possible that it just gets weird and they win like 7 games and it's kind of the end of the Mike Tomlin era. They went all in on this Aaron Rodgers situation. Doesn't work out. Maybe there is a world where they win like 11 games and win a playoff game this year. I don't think there's a scenario where they could make like an AFC championship game or even win the AFC North. Like, that would surprise me. I do think he's better than most of what we saw out of Russell Wilson last year. People forget his first few games, Russ played pretty well, but then he fell off. I do think Rodgers will be an upgrade, but the question is how much of an upgrade? How does his game translate when it gets cold in the winter? Obviously, he can still spin it through the wind and through the cold weather, but he doesn't move at all. They're going to need to run the ball well with Caleb Johnson. They still have a suspect offensive line. Both tackles have question marks. So I do think there is, like I said, a wide range here, and I'll probably dive deeper into that. But my initial reaction is, I still think it's weird that Pittsburgh seemed to put all their eggs in this basket. Now, obviously, they flirted with the Matthew Stafford situation. Sounds like they would have liked Justin Fields back, but Fields got a nice deal from the Jets. But I don't know what to make of it. It doesn't seem like a super high ceiling situation, even though I do think the outcome is pretty wide ranging of what could happen here. So we'll see. My gut tells me they're a 8 to 10 win team that either barely misses the playoffs or loses in the first round like they have been. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they can do more than what they've done the last several years in Pittsburgh. What do you think? Will the Steelers be a playoff team? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Recent history would say yes, but it would also say that they crash out in round 1 because I still don't think they're better than Chiefs. I don't think they're better than Baltimore. I don't think they're better than Buffalo. If Cincinnati starts the year out better than they have in recent years, I don't think they're better than Cincinnati. Are they better than the Chargers? Are they better than the Broncos? Maybe. I think you're looking at a fringe wildcard team. That would be my guess. Okay, the first of 2 news stories today. The Packers are cutting Jaire Alexander. I guess I'm filming this around 2 o'clock Central Time, so I would imagine that transaction goes through at 3 o'clock Central today. Maybe they wait till tomorrow. Sometimes they'll give it a 24 hours, see if some team at the last minute will offer like a 7th-round pick. But after a months-long kind of, I don't know if dispute's the right word, but back and forth between Green Bay and Alexander, they are moving on after 7 seasons with the team. Schultz had an interesting report, Jordan Schultz, that the Bills showed interest in trading for Jaire Alexander, but those talks ultimately fell through and the Bills moved on. They ended up drafting Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback out of Kentucky, in the first round. And I think that's where the mistake was here for Green Bay. I think coming out of last season, another injury-riddled year for Jaire. He's been injured a lot the past 4 years. He's only had 1 healthy season back in 2022, 21, 23, and 24. He has not been able to stay healthy. I think the mistake for Green Bay was holding out hope for a bigger trade. If they had a trade on the table for the draft, they should have taken it. Because, A, they would have had clearer kind of a clearer picture, if you will, of what their cornerback situation was going into the draft, which they do not have a good cornerback room currently. And B, at least you would have gotten something for him. Now, sure, I guess the only benefit to doing it now is they did designate it a post-June 1st cut, so they save more against the cap this year. Maybe that gives them the ability to go make a big splash for Trey Hendrickson or something else. But if not, then you really didn't benefit much by waiting until June because you didn't get anything for him and you didn't go out and try to get his replacement in the draft. Now, I do think there will be interested parties in free agency. I think the Vikings stand out to me. He knows the division. There's been kind of a Packers-Vikings pipeline the last few years. Aaron Jones obviously went there. A few others have done that as well. They need a corner, or at least could use one. They say Isaiah Rodgers is their second guy. Jaire's obviously an upgrade if he's healthy. I think that's interesting. Dallas could use a corner with Trayvon Diggs banged up. He's probably not going to be ready to start the season. The Dolphins, who are expected to trade Jalen Ramsey, if they trade Ramsey and want to sign Jaire for half or a third of the cost, I think that's an interesting idea for them. The Raiders have been linked to corners, including Ramsey. Maybe Jaire is a team or is a guy they go after if they don't get Ramsey. Then I know the Bills drafted Hairston, but that corner room still isn't great. And if you want to hedge a little bit for the rookie, you could certainly bring him in. So I do think you'll see half dozen up to 10 teams show interest in Alexander. I am fascinated to see what the contract is. I would imagine it's heavy on incentives and playing time, given how much time he's missed over the past 4 years. All right, if you're an NFL fan, subscribe to the channel. If you love the NFL, want to keep up to date with everything surrounding this sport that we all love, hit that subscribe button. It is free. We also cover college football here on this channel. We'll ramp that up in July leading up to the season. So don't miss out. Daily football videos here on 4Verts. Okay, lastly, Nick Chubb to Houston. As of filming this has not become official. Check my phone real quick. Still no official signing here, but reports coming out late Sunday and early into Monday that he is going to sign with the Texans. He's just got to go pass a physical, which I would imagine all that stuff has been taking place this morning and into the afternoon with the Texans. Now, there is a world where he fails a physical. He has had some tough injuries the last couple of years, but if all goes well, they are going to sign him according to reports. Now, I'll be honest, and I know there was some small whispers from small reporters and stuff, but just me personally, when I thought, okay, who could sign Nick Chubb, the Texans were not really on my radar. They already have Joe Mixon, who makes good money. Dameon Pierce is a back that I like. They drafted Woody Marks, so I just didn't think they would be the team to make this move, and now they've got pretty crowded room. Jaire Ogunbowale, he's a good special teams player, can play on third downs. I think he's making the team. So now I kind of feel like Dameon Pierce ends up being the odd man out and becomes an interesting kind of surprise cut for other teams to pursue, or maybe a late round trade swap or something like that. I think he's a guy who could contribute for another offense. He had a really good rookie year a couple of years ago, but Nick Chubb, obviously the Texans are trying to refine some magic there pre-injury, right? Because had the catastrophic injury in 2023, missed most of that year. Last year comes back in the middle of the year, doesn't look great. His last two games look better, but then he breaks his foot. So what version of Nick Chubb are the Texans getting? I think that's unknown, right? Like you're hoping he can be 80% of what he was before, right? If he can give you that, that's a solid player to pair with Joe Mixon. So very curious by this signing from Houston. Clearly, they don't love what Dameon Pierce is at this point. Otherwise, I don't think they would have made this move. So Nick Chubb going to be a Texan, barring any surprises, and obviously a big year for them. They've won a playoff game each of the first 2 years of C.J. Stroud's career, looking to take that next step, and they must feel like Nick Chubb is a player who can help them do that. Okay, name a player you want your favorite team to go out and sign or trade for. Either one is fine. Let us know in the comments section down below. Drop a name for your favorite team. If you want to really go above and beyond so we can get a feel for who's in our comment section, list the team name you're a fan of, and then drop the player's name next to them. That way we can really tell who's watching this show. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of 4Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. We will be back tomorrow, so don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications. We'll see you then.